Telecom TV.
Telecom TV, where ICT connects. Watching Telecom TV.
Now I want you all to smile, please. There'll be 5 million people on Twitter just looking at you in a few seconds. Yeah? That's the new world. So Simon invited me to talk about a particular part of the Amazon business, which is the platform business. And before you think that that will be just a talk about just one platform, forget about that. You know, we've perfected the idea of how to turn particular expertise that you have into a platform, either for better business opportunities or to actually manage your growth. Because those may have been the only opportunities for us to grow to a particular size. Before anything else, so this is our mission statement. Yeah? Amazon desires to be the Earth's most customer-centric company. And it actually says that in the original founding documents. Our goal is that in 10 years or 20 or 30 years' time, Amazon will still be around. Our business plays a long-term play. And if there's one thing to look back on in, let's say, 10 or 20 years, what Jeff really wanted to do is make sure that if we look back at that moment, that Amazon has changed the way, you know, customer-driven business works. And the key, and I could give a whole talk on how we do innovation within Amazon, and that would take up much more time than I've been given here, but key thing is that we don't look for new things in innovation. And that may seem kind of contradictory. Yeah? What we look for in innovation is looking for things that don't change. Things that remain extremely important for your customers over time, over the long run. And then look at how we can make those aspects of what the customer appreciates, innovate on those, and turn them into flywheels, put energy into it, such that you become much better at those things that really, truly matter to the customer. And we could talk a long time about what that actually means in a retail business or in an online business, but you'll see some of those things coming back as being the drivers behind the choices for the platform business that we went into. So first to understand a little bit is that you have to understand the Amazon business model. And as any other company, we are interested in growth. Yeah? And we believe that there are two drivers in our business, in our retail business, that drive this growth. One is selection, and I've learned by now that in Europe, selection means something else than in the US. In the US, it means to have a massive, big catalog. And I gave a talk last week, and it meant something like that you pick something really small. You actually make a selection. Yeah? Selection for us means to have a really large number of products in your catalog, because that's what customers enjoy. They enjoy choice. It's one of the reasons why they come to Amazon. Yeah? So selection drives customer experience. But also, there's a second driver, and that is low pricing. Now, both of these things are examples of those kind of flywheels. Because 10 years from now, and lower pricing may seem kind of like, how shall I say, simple. But 10 years from now, customers will still want low pricing. It's not like the world will have changed and that they will say, no, you know, I don't care that much about how cheap it is. I just pay whatever you ask me to. No. So these two things are the main driver into the customer experience at Amazon. Customer experience drives traffic. Yeah? I mean, you offer things that people want, they'll come and buy it at you, or at least come and visit your site. And that triggers more sellers to offer their product on the Amazon site. Yeah? Why? Because we have 85 million customers, active customers. The moment you insert a product into the Amazon catalog, it is immediately exposed to 85 million customers. You don't have to acquire those customers, you don't have to do cold calls for them, they're there instantly. And the good thing of that is that grows our selection. Yeah, so here you have one of those flywheels. Yeah? Because it drives itself. The more selection you create, the better the customer experience, the more people come to your site, the more sellers are willing to sell on your site, which, brings back the point that your selection will grow. If you do that well, if you manage it well, you can drive your cost structure down. And at Amazon, we've then decided to make that the second flywheel and have that flow back immediately into lowering the prices. And if you really are serious about this, you have to put mechanisms in place. You have to put friction in place where you see the behavior that you do not want to see happening. For example, for our buyers, that's still a real retail job. These are the guys that actually go out, look for the product, buy them, put them in our warehouses, and determine the price. Yeah? It's easy for them, in the tools that they have, to lower the price. To actually raise the price of a product, they have to go to 10, 15 different steps. Yeah? So you drive the right behavior in that way. Now, the most important part from a platform perspective, because that's what you guys asked me to talk about today, is actually the part about selection. Yeah, because early on, we realized at Amazon that we could not build ourselves the world's largest catalog. We couldn't. Yeah? We needed help from others to do that. And so the first introduction of Amazon as a platform was to invite other merchants onto our platform. Because that was the only way that we could keep this flywheel going, by having them insert products into the catalog instead of us. So, there's another point I wanted to make here, but okay. Well, so first of all, so there's the merchant platform. The merchant platform, there's about 1.2, 1.3 million merchants on the Amazon platform. It works different from, let's say, some of the auction sites. There are no listing fees. And why are there no listing fees on Amazon? Because you don't want the friction into, remember that important part, it is to grow the catalog. We want people to put products in there for free. Because that incents the right behavior, namely growing the catalog. And then we make our money as Amazon, as part of each transaction that actually happens. And we provide all sorts of other services around it to the merchants also. So merchants, 1.2 million of them, they account for about 30% of our revenue. Yeah? Now, retail is a known, low margin business. Especially if you have to ship and manage and store those products yourself. So the margins in the merchant business are actually more comfortable than doing it yourself. There's another thing I wanted to say about the merchants. So you have to do all the other things around it. Of course, you have to manage the trust of your customers. I mean, they are our most important asset. Yeah, so you have to manage fraud, you have to manage bad customer behavior, bad customer service, because for our customers, often indistinguishable whether you're buying it at a third party, or whether you're actually buying it from Amazon. So you want that behavior, you want that service to be as good as possible. So this was platform number one. That was where we started off with, and the goal really with that was to increase the selection. Platform number two, which we developed, is how to drive more traffic to Amazon. This is another thing that we didn't really know how to do ourselves, or we knew how to do it. You just didn't have the decentralized capacity to actually drive that traffic to you. Meaning that there are millions and millions of websites out there. How do you get all those millions and millions to put links to Amazon? Of course, now, first of all, you must make it easy to link to you. You must make it sure that, if someone would like to talk about book X, then that they would use a link to Amazon to actually reference that book. But you can also provide an incentive. And the incentive in this case is that if you put up a link to Amazon, and actually that results in a sale, you get between 4 and 7% of that sale value back. Yeah, this is our associates model. I wouldn't know how many there are. I think there's millions of them. A number of them are more dormant than others, but there's quite a few people that make a pure living of this. They build whole comparison shopping sites, things like that. I run a small but an insignificant weblog, and for fun, whenever I reference a book, I put a link to the book up there using my associate tag, and actually the 5 or 6 books that I reference now and then pay for the hosting of my web service. Yeah, it's a very easy way of driving traffic, and we get the benefit of that. Now you have a massive decentralized machine that drives traffic towards you in a very high quality manner, because often these websites are websites about Boy Scouts. They're websites about ice hockey, and where there's a really targeted audience that gets taken to your product without that you have to do anything for it. Next platform. So now we know we've put goods in our platform. Yeah, so the merchants have stored their products there, but they often, they still would like to have their own identity. But they would like to have the things in both worlds. They would like to sell it on Amazon, as well as that they would have their own interface, their own unique presence on the web. And so we built a platform for them to easily build very quickly. I think it will take half an hour for you to get a completely modified web store up and running, which has all your products that you're selling on Amazon. And also, you can integrate, we allow syndication there, meaning that you can sell all Amazon products in that web store also. It has a unique domain name, it looks all by itself, and there's many, for example, many music companies that are actually having web stores for all their individual web stores for each of their bands. They look high-end Flash environments, but they use the Amazon data and the Amazon facilities to drive this. Important there is that often, these are tertiary or even further websites. They deal with the same data as in products that are probably being sold somewhere else. They're just another channel. Next step is the enterprise services platform. Here, actually, this started again with the notion that we couldn't grow Amazon to a point, and this was mainly technology driven, the size that we wanted it to be. We had multiple international sites. This is around 2000. At that moment, Target, the large brick and mortar retailer, comes to us and asks whether we will be interested in actually building their website for them. They liked Amazon.com. They wanted something identical. And one look at their software, and we said, no way. Yeah? And because we'd gone through a whole phase of what we called getting big fast, and every architectural principle was allowed to be violated. That's a mandate you should never give to engineers. Yeah? and so we were at a phase where we had to rethink what we wanted to do and how we saw Amazon growing. And to be able to have the very advanced e-commerce platform, we needed more customers than just ourselves. Because that was something that would allow us to innovate at a faster pace than just targeting our own 7 websites. So at this moment, the enterprise services platform is a very high-level e-commerce services platform directed towards the biggest websites of this world, e-commerce websites. Yeah, it does catalog management, it does the rendering, but it also does fraud, and it does payments, and all at a very high level services that you can acquire. And so Target runs on it, NBA runs on it, Marks & Spencer runs on it, Mothercare runs on it. Yeah? And all of these are actually multi-channel solutions with a number of channels in them that Amazon.com themselves doesn't use. I mean, we don't have for Amazon.com any in-store terminals or things like that. But the enterprise services platform does offer those multiple challenges, multiple channels. So we've gone through a number of places now where you can see the pattern repeating itself. Yeah? We have a number of unique assets. And in the previous case, actually, enterprises, that was our knowledge of how to do e-commerce. That actually nobody else had. But e-commerce at very, very large scale, such that you can actually support a Marks and Spencer's or an Amazon.com itself. Now, there's another part of the whole process that Amazon does of our business that we're really good at, and that's fulfillment. Yeah, we empty our warehouses about 13 to 14 times a year. We have a massive distribution network. And so one of the things that we started to realize is that this is a service that other people would want to use also. So what you can do, and we did it especially for our merchants, of course, they can put their goods in our warehouses. And then you've got a web service interface where you can interact with the Amazon system and say, ship that product to customer X. It now also makes it possible to have all those products that are now in our warehouses to be part of particular promotion packages, or joint shipping and available for Prime, which is our subscription mechanism. Yeah, again, opening up the things that you do well and actually become a really successful business. There's lots of things being sold on eBay these days that are being shipped by Amazon. Actually, most of those products were shipped in Amazon boxes anyway, so. Now we get into another part of our business that, again, driven by our own needs. And the bloggers have to stop writing now. Yeah? So this web service that we offer is called Mechanical Turk. And you have to get your head around this for a moment. Yeah? So there's a lot of people out in the world that are willing to do small tasks. So we've built a system that actually hooks up those people with work that's being made available. So those are called the Mechanical Turk workers. And then there is businesses that provide these small units of work. And these small units of work can be doing a search, it can be doing some translation, it can be doing clicking links. And in our first case, it could be looking at images, whether they are porn. And I've tried to write algorithms to look at images to determine whether they're porn, like percentage of pink in the picture. Doesn't really work. Humans have about 30 milliseconds that they can look at a picture and immediately determine in which category it falls. So there's a number of tasks that humans are just much better at than we could ever write computer programs for. So this is where we've built a computer service system around it that automatically can make these humans be part of a workflow chain of computer services. So that's Mechanical Turk. It's called our labor platform. More recently, we started working on delivering digital goods. And let me show you one of our platforms there. This is the Kindle. And it's your fault that it's not available in the UK at this moment. Yeah? And the guilty ones know who they are in this room. So, again, digital services is, of course, for Amazon's future important. Its digital delivery will be coming to everybody's home in whatever format that they want to. But it was important for us that we, from the get-go, started thinking about how to make this a platform. And not just from the ebook side of things, but also, how can people be publishers, get things onto the Kindle, or be music producers, get things out in our MP3 store without any interaction with us. Yeah, there's a site called dtp.amazon.com. You can take your book, you can take your thesis, you can take your essay, and put it up there, and immediately it's for sale on the Kindle for a price that you set. The same goes for the MP3 store, and I hope to reach that point with the video store as well. So there, again, we turn it into a platform. And this thing is really intended to be a platform. And especially in your, remember, customers don't know often that this one has a 3G wireless device in it. They just realized that they no longer have to go to a computer to actually buy anything, to buy books. Stuff just appears on here. You know, in the morning you wake up and your Wall Street Journal is there. And they have no subscriptions. They don't pay for the wireless. It's integrated into, we pick up the cost there. And so in that sense, it makes them a whole different world in where the wires disappear, but it is about the platform as a device and the services that we're able to offer at the other side. Last piece that I want to, there's two more pieces I want to talk about. So this is a very big business for us at the moment. If you've heard me speak before, then it's probably about all the cloud computing stuff that's going on. For Amazon itself, again, a traditional enterprise architecture approach where we had a large decentralized organization with lots of services internally. We started looking at where most of the folks were actually spending their time on. They were spending the time on managing infrastructure. So we virtualized the infrastructure, built it for ourselves, and then started realizing that we had created something unique, that actually we were one of the few that could really run that as a very low margin business again, because we are retailers. So now there's all these services out there, compute services, storage, messaging, payments. There's a whole range of services that we're offering, and there's many young businesses that completely drive on this. And there's a number of, quite large number of enterprises that have outsourced a lot of their work into this just to get access to very scalable, highly reliable, multi-data center space. And it is, the importance of this actually cannot be underestimated. Infrastructure as a service turns out to be, especially in these more economic dark times, important in shifting from capital expense to variable cost. Where upfront, in earlier days, if you want to take risk in these uncertain times, you wouldn't want to do it because you had to make large upfront investment. With infrastructure as a service, these things shift towards, if you need to scale because you have more customers that are actually paying you, you need to pay more for your infrastructure. My last slide is, just to scare you, is our telco platform. No, don't worry, we're not going into that business. Not us. And there's a number of folks in the room that we've talked about, that we've talked with, well actually that came to us. And so I'll give you high-level ideas. The number of telcos are very much interested in using the cloud computing infrastructure to build out their own services. And why would they want to do it there instead of doing it in their own data center? Is because in the cloud infrastructure, it is possible to have other third parties sit around there and actually extend those telco platforms to do value-added programming for one or multiple telco platforms that will live inside the cloud. And there's quite a bit of interest in that. And you in the room, who know, you know who you are. Let me put it at that, and I promise not to tell. But this is definitely one of the platforms that is coming. It won't be Amazon's platform. It will run on Amazon's technology, though. But it will not be branded Amazon. Just like that Marks & Spencer's is not branded Amazon. It will be branded whatever your particular company is, extended with all sorts of services built by third parties. And we'll do the payments for you. Actually, I think that's a pretty accurate overview of the platforms that we run in Amazon. And I hope I've informed you that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Phil. Thank you.
Telecom TV. Telecom TV's where ICT connects.
You're watching Telecom TV.